I need you to sound like 2000. I need you to sound
By the fact, more acute now. I have been
I need you to sound like 2000. I need you to sound like 2000. I need you to sound like 2000.
And if you're living over the
I need you to sound like 2000. I need you to sound like 2000. I need you to sound like 2000.
when I was at zero.
I need you to sound like 2000. I need you to sound like 2000. You are now part of a collective breathing experience. You are now part of a collective reading experience. You can choose to participate silently. You can choose to participate loudly. You can choose one option and then shift your decision towards the other. You are now a member of a provisional community. You can choose to engage by listening. You can choose to engage by reading out loud. You can choose to engage in both ways. You are now in a cacophonic environment. You can choose to offer your voice to the experience. You can choose to offer your breath to the experience. You can choose to offer your stillness to the experience. You are now responsible for your own mode of engagement. You can choose to be accountable to your own gestures. You can choose to acknowledge the limits of the practice. You can choose to surrender to the sound that surrounds you. You can choose to surrender to the sound that surrounds you. You can choose to surrender to the sound that surrounds you. You can choose to surrender to the sound that surrounds you. You are now a particle boiling within this noisy environment. You can choose to embody the heat. You can choose to embody the heat. You can choose to participate in the event of transformation. You can choose to participate in the event of transformation. You can choose to become sound. 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 You can choose to participate silently. You can choose to participate loudly. You can choose one option and then shift your decision towards the other. I need you to sound like 2000. I need you to sound like 2000. I need you to sound like 2000. Can you sound like 2000? Read. So I ran to the river. It was boiling, I ran to the sea. It was boiling, I ran to the sea. It was boiling all on that day. So I ran to the river. It was boiling, I ran to the sea. It was boiling, I ran to the sea. It was boiling all on that day. I sensed something burning not too far from here last night. There wasn't any smoke, at least not from our viewpoint, but I could definitely feel something burning and the vibration of a certain life, human maybe, sustaining that fire. The contradiction between the fire's apparently small scale and its powerful, almost unbearable heat was somehow magical. And its keeper, from what I could sense, was a magical creature. I kept paying attention.
This is a dance at the end of the time.
Marcella woke with the sun. I didn't feel tired at all, but it was the end of my shift, and I knew I should rest. Heading to my hammock, I let them take my place and keep watch. I said nothing about the fire, but I could notice them sensing both the heat and my curiosity towards it. Without using words, they asked,
The contradiction
what was that
between
thing?
the fire, apparently small
I didn't know how to
scale and its
respond, so I
powerful,
simply shared my
almost unbearable
confusion with
heat,
them.
was somehow magical,
They
and it
seemed
keeps
to
from what I
worry
could
about it
sense,
more than I
was a
did.
magical creature.
This is an evocation of
I
what
had
has
to
to be
fight
announced.
the urge to exchange looks with them. I wanted to eye communicate that we were safe here, at least for now. That the invisibility spell we had cast was strong enough to hold. That we
This is
could
a reading
breathe
of a book
and
that is
collect
burning.
ourselves for a moment, aware that
Breathe.
staying too long might
Breathe.
put us at risk.
Breathe slowly.
Our eyes would soon become
Breathe
obsolete,
in.
and we knew that.
Breathe slowly.
They
Our
seem to worry
ability
about
to
it more
hide.
than I
Our
did.
ability.
I had to
Depended on
find
our
the urge
commitment to
exchange
avoid the
looks with
gate.
them.
As if you were dead.
Our knowing the world depended only on our collectively
nine.
enhanced sensing abilities and the soon-to-be obsolete use of
Stop
clandestine visual
overthinking.
technology,
We are not.
capable of narrating our viewpoint through an encrypted network.
This is a burned voice holding that fire.
Stop overthinking. Stop overthinking, Marcella said,
They
using
seem
words.
to worry
Stop
about it more
overthinking.
than I
Then,
did.
using pure
I
energy,
had
they
to
pushed
fight
me
the
out.
urge
Stop
to exchange looks
overthinking.
with them.
Stop overthinking.
Stop overthinking.
I could sense their drowsiness, which they channeled to me so I would get to sleep faster.
Our eyes would soon become obsolete, and we knew that.
When we collectively
Kept
sense,
paying attention.
overthinking ceases to be individual. One should
Kept
always
paying
know how to
attention.
stop it, to stop sharing, before it becomes too overwhelming for everyone.
Kept paying
Oh,
attention.
stop
This is
it.
a word on a
Stop
wordlessness.
erase
When we
anything.
collectively
And I
sense,
never erase
stop.
anything.
Overthinking ceases
I
to be
never-
individual.
Erase.
One
And this
should
is a
always
letter
know
to
how to
whom
stop
it may
never
concern.
read
To
As if
stop
you were
sharing,
dead.
before it becomes
The thing
too
about collective
overwhelming for
sensing,
everyone else.
Talking is strictly unnecessary.
Inside
You
their
do it only
body, I
for
tried to
impact.
expel the gas, and at the same time, I kept a sample
I
of
woke
it.
to the feeling that there was something at the gate. I tried to reach out
As if
for
you were
Marcella,
dead.
but Raoni intervened. Calm down.
You need to scream.
As if you were
Breathe.
dead.
You
It's the
are
only
too
way.
anxious. Marcella was
Sometimes
busy with something, and we were
for
busy
all
keeping
of us to
ourselves in
reunite.
protection mode.
And you need to do it now.
Why not?
The gate was clear,
Not too
I
many
could sense it
people
now.
today recall
but there was
what
something
freedom
going on,
movement
not
was.
too far from here.
And those who do
I was
remember
already
what a
alone and
fictional
numb.
construct, and it had always
Breathe
been.
in,
I sense a lot.
breathe out.
And I collect almost everything. If I'm sharing with
again.
someone, then this person will inevitably
Too much
have to
How
excitement.
deal
deep
with the
voice
weight
was
of my
stuck
things
inside
I
my head.
scavenged during my
I'm
trip.
drowning.
Acoustic.
Slowly lower your frequency. Don't let your anxiety transform all of us into a target. We need to keep a very low frequency now.
Breathe.
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 Slowly. As if you were dead.
Dead.
We are 9 hiding out here.
I've been nurturing since long
We've
before
been
the
around
first
for a while,
quarantine.
at least for the last 3 quarantines.
My ability to sense and interact with
Never
the
in
not
the same
yet.
place.
I woke to the feeling that there was something at the
We
gate.
are constantly
I
on the
tried
move.
to reach out for myself.
Our protection
but I
spells are
won't intervene.
fragile and don't last
Calm down.
indefinitely.
Breathe. You are too anxious.
Interact
thing
with the
to make
not
such
yet.
a big group vanish amidst the forms of social control that I use these days. Today, it's not like the early 2020s. Though most
Interact
of us
with the
don't
not
even
yet.
remember the 2020s that well.
We've been around for a while.
Except for Marcella and I, everyone here grew up during the lockdown era. So the only memories from a world without quarantine either come
As
from
if
our
you were
shared
dead.
memories or from the old media files in our archives.
Our traces undertones of speculated memories, fake
Not many
prophecies,
people today
dirty
recall what
information,
freedom of
and other
movement
forms
is.
of
And
sensorial
those
tried
who
to
do
reach out to
remember
Marcella,
what a
but
fictional
Raul
construct
intervened.
it had always been. The borders and checkpoints might have multiplied in the last 3 decades, but they were invented and weaponized long before.
As if you were dead.
sound like 2000.
We move separately,
Stop thinking.
alone or in groups of 2.
I needed to do it
Sometimes
now.
it can take months for all of us to reunite.
We've been around for a while.
Marcel and Raoni are
At least
always
for
the
the
first
last
ones to
3
go so
quarantines.
they can set everything
But
up
never
for
in
the
the
rest
same
of us.
place. We are constantly on the move.
They are followed by Lava
Our
and
protection
Havena,
spells are fragile
Thelma
and don't
and
last
Athena.
indefinitely.
Rosie
I woke
and
to the
Adeline.
feeling that there was something
We were
at the
as
gate.
unprepared
I
as
tried to
everyone
reach
else.
out.
Each duo takes a different
down,
route and is
breathe,
responsible
get
for
too
transforming,
anxious.
After a while-
transporting a set of essentials.
As if you were
And
dead.
yet
Attack
somehow we
and
could
food,
still sense each
Breathe
other.
rocks
out.
and
Breathe
medicines.
in. Breathe out. Breathe in.
I am always the last to depart.
As if you were dead.
My job is to hide all of our traces, be they material or not.
I never erase anything.
The rest of the group call it a cleaning job, but I call it encryption.
This
It's
is a
more
song
like an
about a
exhaustive
community
overlapping
of ghosts.
procedure in which I bury our traces under tons of speculated memories, fake prophecies, dirty information, and other forms of sensorial noise. Encryption. That's how I call it. It's more like an exhaustive, overlapping procedure in which I bury our traces under tons of speculated memories, fake prophecies, dirty information, and other forms of sensorial noise. The idea is not to erase, because although I no longer trust in history, I value the possibility of witnessing.
I am a witness.
A hideout within a hideout within a hideout within a hideout within a
The idea
hideout within a
is
hideout
not to
within a
erase,
hideout.
2020.
because although I no longer trust in history,
As if you were dead.
I value the possibility of witnessing. And
I won't
so
go.
I let
won't
things
go. I
remain.
won't go.
Not many
Very,
people today recall
very
what
well
freedom
hidden.
movement was.
I
And
travel
those who do
alone.
remember
and
what
for
a
the
fictional
most
construct
part,
it
it's
always has
okay.
been.
Travel alone.
I was already alone and nomad before the 2020 events.
Very,
Besides,
very well
most
hidden.
people would rather not travel with me because sometimes it can get hard.
I am a witness.
And I never
Sense
erase anything.
A lot.
A hideout
A
within a
lot.
hideout within a hideout
And I collect
within
almost
a hideout
everything.
within a hideout within a hideout.
We tried to
If I
prepare.
am sharing with someone, then this person will inevitably have to deal with the weight of all the things I scavenged during my trips. Acoustic
We've been
residues of
around
long
for a
gone
while,
voices,
at least to the last 3
fragments
Why
quarters.
do I
of
keep
unfinished
calling it a
Never in the
voice?
same place.
traces
We're
of
constantly
dreams
on
that
the
are
move.
about to be
Our
forgotten,
protection is
fictions
built on
that
fragile
weren't
and
powerful
irrational
enough to make into reality. Acoustic residues of long gone voices, Fragments of unfinished conversations, traces of dreams that are about to be forgotten, fictions that weren't powerful enough to make into reality. I gather them all, I shoot them into my sensors, and I never erase anything.
I am a witness.
Acoustic residues of long-gone voices, fragments of unfinished conversations, traces of dreams
I
that
show
are
them
about
all
to be
to my
forgotten,
sensors.
Anything.
fictions
I never erase
that
them.
weren't
travel
powerful
alone
enough
for the
to
most
make
part,
into
and
reality.
it's okay. I was already alone.
A
around
hideout within
before
a hideout
2020.
within a
I do that
hideout
into my
within a
sensors.
hideout within a
Anything.
hideout.
And I never erase anything.
There wasn't
Never.
time to
Besides,
explain.
most people would rather not
There
travel
wasn't
with
time
me
to
because
explain.
I won't
sometimes
go.
it can get hard.
I
soon as-
It's an
never erase
affirmation
anything.
of nothing.
Never.
As soon as they
Nothing.
The
recognized
thing
me,
about collective sensing
there wasn't time to
is that
explain.
talking is strictly
I
unnecessary.
am a witness.
You do it only for impact. As when you want to take an irrevocable decision. The group had decided to move down south across São Paulo to the borders of the liberated zone, where the southern states
The
of
thing
Brazil
about
had been
collective
before
sensing.
the Paraguayan Hitake movement.
We move separately,
Liberated it
alone
from
or in
Brazilian
groups
domain.
of two.
I've been
The thing
nurturing
about
since
collective
long
sensing.
Territory
before the
initially
first
became part of
quarantine.
Paraguay, but its
Sometimes
sovereignty was
take months
questioned
for all of us
by
Talking
to
cross-continental
irrestrictly
indigenous
unnecessary.
movements.
My
and
ability to
organizations
sense
that
and
fought
interact.
for the
No
creation
one.
of a
Strictly
nationwide zone.
unnecessary.
No
And
one.
never
Lawfully
With
erase
the
liberated
not
both
yet.
Brazilian
No
and
one.
Paraguayan nation
No
states
one.
and
No
their
one
institutions. No one should assume that the liberated zone is an established place for liberated life. It is a war zone.
I could sense everyone's anger
Indigenous
towards my
groups
decision.
and all
They
sorts of
perceived it as a
non-citizens
betrayal.
are constantly assaulted by post-national militias operating in sync with the neighboring terrorist nation states.
And yet somehow we could still sense
This
each
wasn't the
other.
reason why I decided not to go with them.
I had been standing above the fire all this time.
I sense a lot,
I
and I
wanted
collect almost
To
everything.
track the fire. And I'm convinced I
And
should
I-
continue my quest. It may seem counterintuitive, as Marcella had firstly pointed out when they first learned of my plan. I also knew
I
this
built
would
carefully
be a pointless
a
journey
dirt and
for the
noise
rest of the group,
ambient,
which is
a
why
whole
I've accepted it as
architecture
something
of
I must
confusion.
do alone.
A whole architecture of confusion.
I
The
never
thing
erased
about
whole
collective
architecture
sensing is that
of
talking is strictly
confusion.
unnecessary.
I never
A
erased
hideout
You- you
within a
don't-
The truth
hideout.
was that I was
Never
also
erased
tired
off.
of not being allowed to connect with my anxiety. The truth was that I was also
I've been
tired of
nurturing
not being allowed
I
to
could
since
connect
sense
with my
anger
anxiety.
towards my decision.
My
I feel
ability to
it as a
sense and
betrayal.
interact with the not yet.
I could sense
Boiling,
everyone's
boiling,
anger towards my
boiling,
decision.
boiling.
They perceived it as a betrayal of salt, as something I was doing out of anxiety,
I hate it.
a miscalculation. I hate it. I hate being disregarded. Anxiety might have played an important role in my decision, but not as the fuel, more like a compass, a navigational tool. And not only anxiety, but anxiety in relation. Anxiety as an anticipatory device connected with, not governing, the rest of my senses. The truth was,
The thing about
But I could
collective
access their
sensing is that
sensors,
talking
touch
is
them.
strictly
We tried to prepare for it.
You do it only for
Marcella.
impact.
Somehow,
And you want to stay
are you
inside
there?
your own decision.
I was becoming sick
Marcella.
from claiming it time and
As
again
if you were
for the
dead.
sake of the
Marcella.
group
Now
and of
Marcella.
sharing
Now
how I
Marcella.
embrace
Marcella.
You sound like the thousand.
The truth
They believe it's a
was.
matter of protection. But my fears of being anxious around them are now the source of my own anxiety. To suppress it is a form of holding back. And if I can only stay with the group by crystallizing my
I hate
anxiety
being
into a pathology,
disregarded.
I didn't know how to
then
respond.
I would have to renounce what I've been nurturing since long before the first quarantine. My ability to sense and interact with the not yet.
We moved separately alone
I
or
didn't
in
know how to
groups of
respond,
two.
so I simply shared my confusion with them.
Anxiety might have played an important role in my decisions, but it's not as the fuel.
I sensed something burning
It's
not
a
too far
poem
from here last
about
night.
death and
This
disappearance.
is a poem about death and disappearance.
And this is also a
you
philosophical
were dead.
consideration of infinity.
And I never erase
Soon to be
anything.
obsolete.
This is a song about a community of ghosts.
Encrypted network.
And this is also a statement about me hearing voices.
Everyone else.
And yet somehow we could still
This
sense
is a
each other.
picture of a shattered glass ceiling.
And I never erase anything.
And this is also an affirmation of nothing.
This is a
How
poem
his
about
voice was
death
stuck
and
inside
We
my
began
head.
sensing the lockdown in
It's also
2017.
a philosophical
At the time,
consideration.
At
we were
least
both
for the last
faceless,
3 quarantines.
moving non-stop, our senses all over the place. When we came together, we studied different modes of assembling our sensing apparatus and learn about the coming collapse.
Acoustic residuals of
We
long
knew
gone
it would
voices,
come.
And yet
fragments
somehow we
of
could still sense
unfinished
each other.
conversations,
And how
traces
when it
of
would
dreams
subside.
that
I
are
shouted
about
to
to be
Masala,
forgotten.
you need to wake up and organize everyone
Fiction
now.
that
It was
weren't
only 2 years
powerful enough
later.
to make
I
things
travel
the
well.
alone
birthdays of
for the most
29.
part, it's okay.
You need to
That
wake
was
up and
already
organize everyone now.
2020 events.
Death.
The
Besides,
lockdown
for the
era.
most part, most people would rather
is a
not
poem
travel
about
with
death.
me because
The
sometimes
lockdown
it can get
era.
hard.
The lockdown era.
I shouted to Masala, you need to wake up and organize everyone
Those
now.
days seemed to us like a whole
And yet
century.
somehow we could still sense each other.
We tried to prepare for it, but 2020 encroached upon us.
I travel alone, and for the most part, it's okay.
2020
It's booked.
encroached upon us.
I
Are
sense
you
a lot,
here?
This is a
They
poem
answered.
about
and
We were
I
as
never
unprepared
erase
They
as
answered.
anything.
everyone else. We
They
were pulled
answered.
apart by the
and
circumstances.
disappearance.
When
They
borders began to
answered.
close and closures multiplied, I failed to rush towards our meeting point.
The truth was
Marcella
that I
was there
was also
preparing
tired
for
of
my
not being
arrival.
allowed.
Fuck off, Marcella, shout.
Things together, but the
I
collapse
was becoming
changed
sick
our
from
horizon.
timing in time, and again for the sake of the group,
were
instead of
besieged
sharing
by the
how I
community.
embraced and transformed it.
Confined to a
No
biopolitical state of exception,
We tried to prepare for it.
physically separated by miles.
The truth was I was
And
also
yet,
tired.
somehow,
I sense a
still
lot.
sense each other.
I sense a lot.
We could
I
still
sense a lot.
each other.
I sense a lot.
After a while,
I sense
we
a lot.
realized that we had been preparing for
sense
it
it.
all along.
I sense
We had developed such a deep bond as we had passionately studied the merging of our senses that we simply couldn't be pulled apart.
This is
We
a
were
glimpse
together
of an impossible
from a
form
distance.
of justice.
At a distance.
An impossible form of justice.
And yet somehow we could still sense each other. We were together from a distance, at a distance. I could sense even Marcella's temperature.
Stone.
And yet somehow
And
we
this
could
is
still sense
also
wasn't
each
really a
other.
matter
adjusted
of words
towards
or
the
images.
grounding of such.
Communication
It was only 2
wasn't
years
really a
later,
matter
the
of
first
words
days
and
of
images.
2019.
Why
This is a
bother
poem about
formulating a
death
mode
and
of saying or
disappearance.
showing if we could express and share things that words and images couldn't even begin to articulate? Communication wasn't really a matter of words and images. Why bother formulating a mode of saying or showing if we could express and share things that words and images couldn't even begin to articulate?
A hideout within a hideout within a hideout. I won't go.
Everyone
Within a
finally left
hideout.
our den. I began the encryption. I began the encryption.
And yet somehow
I did first,
we could still
messing
sense
things
each other.
around, mixing the traces
The
of
thing
our
about
presence without the
collective
current
sensing
memory
is that
that
talking
was
is
already
extremely
there when
unnecessary.
we arrived.
You do it only for impact.
I won't
That's
go.
when you want to state an irrevocable decision.
I sense a lot, and I
This
collect.
time the work felt different.
I collect almost
I kept
everything.
paying attention.
This time the work felt different.
And if I'm
I
sharing
could
with
sense the
someone,
presence of a voice I'd never noticed before.
The truth was that I was always tired of not being
It
allowed
wasn't
to
disclosed.
connect with my anxiety.
Stop overthinking.
Just sound.
Stop overthinking.
stop overthinking.
It wasn't disclosed.
Stop overthinking.
Just sound.
Marcella,
And yet somehow,
Just sound.
I never
could
raised
see
It
that
wasn't discourse, just sound. An opaque,
breathe out.
mysterious, somehow
again.
magical sound. It might have startled me, but it didn't cause me fear.
Lower
I went
your
from thinking
frequency.
and thirsting of
Don't
thoughts
let your
of presence.
anxiety transform
kept
what's
paying
on the
Things from one
target.
place to another. I
You
build
need to keep a
carefully.
very low
I build
frequency.
carefully a dirty
Breathe.
and noisy environment.
Slowly.
Soon to be
Hideout.
obsolete.
Within
You're
a
a dog.
when
hideout.
everyone finally
Within a
left our
hideout.
dance, I began the encryption. I built
I
first,
moved
messing
things
things around,
from one place to another.
mixing traces
I
of
built
our
carefully
presence of the
a
buried
dirty
memories
and noisy environment.
that were
A
already
whole
dead.
architecture of confusion.
Overthinking.
A whole architecture of confusion.
I wanted to
hideout within
communicate.
a hideout within a hideout.
Cigarette. I need a
A
cigarette.
hideout within a hideout
slowly,
within a
as
hideout.
if you were dead.
Yet the voice, why do I keep calling it a voice? Wouldn't let me finish my word. I couldn't locate it anywhere, and therefore I
I
couldn't
hate
hide
the
it amidst the
disregard
sensorial
that
dust.
society might have played an important role in my decision, but not as you.
In fact, it was getting louder.
But I call it encryption.
Maybe it wasn't properly there.
Skin
Or
radars,
maybe the
ultrasonic
fact that it
ears,
was getting
infrared
louder
eyes, and
also
many
meant
hands
it was
and
getting
arms made of
closer.
pure plasma.
Voice
I
told
suddenly
me.
sensed it coming in my direction.
I
I
could
feared
sense everyone's
it might
anger
put
towards
me
my
from a
decision.
cellar, how
then
deep
became
in the
aware the
other
voice
than
and
me.
fire was somehow attached, as if the voice was an
And I never
What was
erased
this
fire,
thing?
a sonic
And I
manifestation.
won't know.
How could I have been so unaware of something I was now sensing so intensely?
Skin radars, ultrasonic ears,
How could I
infrared
be?
Was I
eyes,
broken?
and many hands and arms made of pure plasma.
Was I broken? If this thing was really closing in towards me, why couldn't I map its trajectory?
fearful again.
And if it had always been
Would I be
there,
swallowed by the
how could I have
enormous
missed it
stride
for
of
so
the
long?
fire?
Can't get hard.
I then became aware of the
Countless voices
Different
talk
style,
inside my
danger
head.
on level of
I had been standing above the fire all this time, the voice told me. But I said, since I could now hear it, I could sense the fire with more accuracy.
I won't
The
go.
voice and the fire were somehow attached, as if the voice was an anticipation of the fire.
So I
A
ran
sonic
to the
manifestation.
river.
Infrared eyes and
I
many
then
For an
became aware of
instant,
the heat.
I became fearful again. Would I be swallowed by that
I
enormous
wondered
strident
where
source
I
of
would
fire?
had they ever existed.
Would I
So I
be
ran to
swallowed
the
by that
river.
enormous strident source of fire?
This is a poem about death.
Gradually, I started to
and
sense gases
disappearance.
moving from the depths to the heights, taking over the space. I was surrounded by vapor and particles of everything.
And I kept
could
paying
feel the ground
attention.
I
changing
had
and
been
my body
standing above the
boiling.
fire.
I
all
was
this
mutating,
time. The voice told me.
transitioning under the influence of the heat.
How could I have been so unaware?
I won't go.
It should have been unbearable, and maybe it was.
This is a
but
glimpse
I
of an
won't
immense performance.
So unaware of
It should have been unbearable, and maybe it was, but I surrendered.
More accuracy.
Witnessing.
The fire took over my senses, burned them, and instead of ashes, it produced new organs.
The voice was anticipation of the fire.
Skin radars,
I have been standing
Ultrasonic
above the
ears.
fire all this time.
infrared eyes,
I had
and
been
many
standing
hands
above the
won't
fire all
arms
this
made
time.
of
go.
pure
The voice told
plasma.
me.
Interact with the
I
not yet.
won't go.
I remember the fire keeper,
Source of fire.
the creature I had sensed when I first sensed the fire months ago. I wondered where they were now. Had they ever existed? Was I becoming them? This is a glimpse of an impossible form of justice. And this is also a gesture towards the grounding of such impossibility.
I could feel the ground.
This is a
changing in
poem
my body.
about
This
death
This is a
and
glimpse of
disappearance.
an impossible form of justice.
I was
And
mutating.
this is also a gesture towards the grounding of such
There
impossibility.
wasn't time to explain.
transitioning under the
Nurturing.
I dreamt of bullets and woke to the sound of gunfire.
It wasn't happening. I surrendered.
It wasn't happening here. Yet I could feel it happening to me
Happening now.
and happening now.
Somehow,
I could
Marcella.
access their senses.
Marcella.
I focused my awareness on our bond.
Marcella.
And I tried to reach
reach for them.
They were unaware of my presence.
presence.
But I could
But I could
access
access
their
their
senses.
senses.
Touch them. I whispered.
Standing above the fire. The voice told me.
Are you here? They answered.
Are you
Somehow.
Somehow. There wasn't time to explain. As soon as they had recognized me, they could sense my transition and also the danger had passed.
About
Almost a year had passed since we parted ways. I wasn't sure if it was I had tried to
Communicate a few times before.
I kept paying attention.
It was different this
Are you
time.
there?
The danger might have unlocked
The danger might have unlocked something.
The coming
Marcella was
calamity.
alone.
Marcella was alone.
So I assumed they were in charge of keeping
So
watch
I
tonight.
assumed they were in charge of
place
keeping
was under
watch
attack.
tonight.
The whole place
There
was under
were
attack.
other groups settled in the surroundings. 3 militia trucks approached and fed.
You can
Why do I keep
I
calling it a
sensed Marcella
voice?
trying to wake
to wake
everyone.
everyone.
Wake up! Aware of the
Calling
heat.
it a
They
voice.
seemed
Do
disconnected.
I keep calling it a
I
voice?
tried to reach him on the
Hearing, ultrasonic ears, infrared eyes,
I decided to follow the militia to see if I could reach one of them, but their senses weren't open.
opening.
I could feel they were human in an automated, insensitive sensory state.
Breathe in.
Shit!
Breathe out. One of the
Words.
trucks was close to
Breathing.
Ribeiro's hideout.
I could sense
Sense
desperation in their voice. There's nowhere to go.
I'm
I'm
fucked.
fucked.
It's over. It's over.
Are you there?
Breathe in.
Breathe in.
Separated by miles.
I would
Breathe
focus on the
out.
heat source.
Shit.
Aside from the living bodies of humans and animals, I mapped the building,
The fence burning.
and an unusual gas formation surrounding the whole
area.
With renewed awareness, I sensed the same gas within all human lungs, except in those of the militia. They might have been wearing some kind of mask. They might have been the ones releasing the gas before the attack.
Breathe out.
Maybe I could do
And then I
something
became
about it.
aware of the heat.
They might have been the ones releasing the gas before the
Maybe I could
attack.
do something about
Maybe
it.
I could do something about it.
Breathe
out.
out.
Breathe in.
I found Marcella's heat signature and took possession of it.
And yet somehow we could still sense each other.
I could sense the anger. I knew that she was invasive, but
I could sense the presence of a voice.
inside of my
Say what's on
body.
your mind.
inside the body. I tried to expel the gas
At the same time, I kept a sample
I
of it.
left Marcella's body and took possession of the
about
militia's
that.
signature.
I left Marcella's body and took
Then
Once
I
took
became
hold,
aware of
I
the
contaminated
heat.
the digestive gases with the toxic gas intended for Marcella and overdosed his body. The effect was immediate, but there were at least 50 more of them to go.
I shouted to Marcella.
You need to wake up and organize everyone now.
I'm trying.
You need to wake
Too
up.
much anxiety, I'm
Too
drowning.
many people here. Too
No!
much
Breathe!
I decided to focus on the heat.
I can sunburn the militiamen. The attack wouldn't stop until there were all the people.
They could sense my transition and also
The
the danger.
gunfire was overwhelming. I wasn't strong enough on my own. I needed Marcella and the others to fight alongside me.
I know.
We need to scream.
I know.
This is a dance at the end of time.
Scream.
I'm trying.
The whole place was under attack.
I'm
And yet
trying.
It's a
somehow
dance
It's the
at
only
the
way.
end of time.
This is a poem about
Aware
Do it now.
of the heat.
This is a dance at the end of
And yet
time.
somehow we could still
I
sense
kept
each
on
other.
burning the militiamen,
This is an invocation.
but the attack wouldn't stop until they were all defeated. The gunfire was overwhelming. I wasn't strong enough on my own. I needed Marcella and the others to fight alongside me. I kept on burning the militiamen, but the attack
the
wouldn't
only
stop
way.
until they were all defeated.
I know
The
I'm
gunfire
trying.
was overwhelming. I wasn't strong
there
enough
is
on my
really
own.
no
I needed Marcella and the others to fight alongside me.
No.
You need to scream. You need to embody the voices of 2000
Very
and
well
scream.
hidden.
You need to scream. You need to embody the voices of 2000.
No, Marcella, no! No, Marcella, no!
Now, Marcella.
No, Marcella, no!
You need to scream.
This is
Can
at
you
least
sound
an
like
impossible
2000?
form of
Marcella,
justice.
no!
This is a dance
I'm trying.
at the
At
end,
the end
of
of the
times.
times.
This is an invocation of
what
what
has to be announced.
This is a reading of a book that is burning. This is a burning voice holding the fire. This is a reading of a book that is burning. This is a reading of a book that is burning. This is a
And yet somehow we could still sense each other.
This is a reading of a book that is burning. This is a burning voice holding that fire.
When everyone was quiet and holding that I began the encryption.
This is a burning voice holding that fire.
The truth was that I was also tired of not being able to connect with my anxiety.
Now, Marcella, now!
I hate it.
I'm
This
trying.
is an
I hate
invocation
being
of
disregarded.
This is a reading of a book that is
Anxiety might have played an important role in my decision, but not as
This is
the
a burned
fuel.
voice holding that fire. This is a burned voice
You need
holding
to do
that
it now.
fire. This is a burned voice holding that fire. This is a burned voice holding that fire.
You need to
This is
scream.
a burning voice
I want to
holding that
track
fire.
that
breathe.
fire.
This is a
Drowning.
burned
I know
voice
I'm
holding
trying.
that
That fire.
No breeze.
This is a
I
burned
know
voice
I'm
holding
trying.
I
that
had been
fire.
standing above the
Here,
fire
too much
all this
anxiety. I'm
time,
drowning.
and then I
This is
became
the
aware of
burning
the
voice
heat.
holding that fire.
For an instant, I
This is a
became
dance
fearful
at the end
again.
of time.
Scream. Can you sound
This is
like
an invocation of what has to be announced.
Would I be swallowed
This is
by
a
the enormous
This is the
strident
end of
of
time.
fire?
This is an invocation of
Never.
what has to be announced.
Ski radars, ultrasonic hearings with red eyes, the many heads of the made of pure plasma. Are you there? Marcella! Marcella! No! Bring me! And then I became aware of the heat. It's the only way.
This is a letter
It's the
to whom we
only
may
way.
concern.
This is a
This is
burning
a
voice
word.
holding
This
that
is a
fire.
word.
On wordlessness.
But there are too many people here.
On wordlessness.
I'm drowning. No breeze.
This is a word on wordlessness. This is a word on wordlessness. And this is a letter to whom it may concern. You need to scream. You need to embody the voices of 2000 and scream.
Can you sound
It's
like
the only way.
2000?
And you need to do it now.
Can you
It may
sound
Now,
sound
Marcella.
Let's wake up and
counterintuitive.
organize everyone now.
Now, Marcella.
Now, Marcella!
Wordless.
Now, Marcella.
Go on, Marcella. Go on, Marcella.
It's the only way.
Sorry, Marcella.
You need to scream. You need to scream.
And then I became aware of the
The
heat.
burned voice holding that fire.
It's the only way.
This is a burned voice holding that
Skin
I
radars,
wanted
ultrasonic
to track
hearings,
that
infrared
fire.
eyes.
fire. You need to do it
The only
now.
way. You need to do
Now,
it now.
Marcella, now.
Times. This is an invocation
Now!
of what has to
It's
be
the only
announced.
way.
This is a
I
reading of a
travel
book that is
along
burning.
for the most
This is the
part,
burning voice
and
that
it's
is
okay.
holding that fire.
There wasn't time to
way
explain.
the world is
As soon
now.
as they recognized me, they could sense my transition and also the danger I have sensed.
Now, Marcella,
Too many
now!
Sound like 2000.
Burning.
Can you sound like 2000?
2000.
Swimming
No
in my own
breeze.
breath.
Sound like 2000.
You need to do it now.
Now, Marcella.
Overwhelmed. Overthinking.
No, Marcella.
Can you
No!
I
sound
tried
like
to expel the
2000?
gas.
Can you sound like 2000?
Sound like
Can you
you
sound like 2000?
No, breathe.
Sound like 2000.
Now, Marcella, now!
It's the only way.
Very well hidden.
Can you sound like 2000?
Very well hidden.
Can you sound like 2000?
Are you there?
I
It's
left
the
it
burning
in
voice
May.
holding that fire.
Very well
burning
hidden.
Sound like 2000.
I decided I would focus on the world soul.
This is a
A
letter to
hideout,
whom you may
within a
concern.
hideout, within a
I had been
hideout.
standing
Now,
above the
Marcella.
fire.
Everyone now. Less.
Now,
This is a dance at the end of
Now.
times.
Now, Marcella.
Very,
Now, Marcella.
very well he
Now.
did.
You need to embody the voice of 2000.
Now, Marcella.
Sound like 2000.
Now, Marcella.
Sound like
La,
you
la, la,
Now, Marcella.
You need to embody the voices of 2008.
Now, Marcella. La.
Burn voice holding a fire.
Can you sound like
Now,
I no longer trust in history.
Now,
I stand with the possibility of witness.
Marcella.
And then I became aware of the heat.
Can you sound like 2000?
Now,
End of time.
Can you sound like 2000?
Can you sound like 2000?
Can you sound like 2000?
This is a letter.
After a long time,
You need to scream. You need to embody the voices
Now,
of 2000
Marcella.
and scream.
Now.
Can you sound like 2000?
Marcella.
You sound like 2000. Sound like 2000.
And yet somehow it was just sensitive.
Now, Marcella. Now.
Is a dance at the end of times.
This is a dance at the end of time.
This is a poem about death.
You need to embody the
This is a
voices of
reading of a book that is
2000 and
burning.
scream.
This is a burden voice burning the fire.
This is a dance at the end of time. This is an invocation of what has to be announced.
This is a dance at the end of
This is a
times.
reading of a book that is burning. This is a burnt voice
This is a
holding that
letter
fire.
to who it may
This is a
There are
word
too many
on
people.
to whom it
wordlessness.
may concern.
And this is a
To
letter
whom it may concern.
it may concern.
I know, Alma said, I'm really
Now.
trying. There are too many people.
Can you sound like 2000?
Breathe, 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 breathe.
And then I became aware of the heat.
Sound like 2000.
This is a dance at the end of times.
Ski radars, ultrasonic ears, infrared eyes, many hands and arms of pure plasma.
Now, Marcella, now!
Now, Marcella, now! No!
speculated
Marcella, like
fake
No,
props,
Marcella, no!
third information, and other forms of sensorial knowledge.
Marcella.
So this
Not
is
to
a poem.
erase. I value the possibility of witnessing, and so I let things remain very, very well maintained.
With a toxic gas that was intended for Marcella. The effect was immediate, but there are at least 50 more of them to go.
This is a poem about death.
I know I'm trying to
Infrared eyes.
2020.
I have been standing above the fire all this time. I then became aware of the heat. I suddenly sensed it from anywhere direction.
The end of times.
Now, Marcella. Now.
Dance. The end of times.
2000.
This is a dance. Dance to dance. Dance
let things remain very, very well hidden.
Thank you very much.